Is there any claw machine with a more distinctly vintage and recognizable look than the original clean sweep crane? Actually, yes. The Erie digger. What makes this machine so interesting is the fact that the only thing on it that uses electricity is this light bulb. No circuit boards or transformers, just a knob and a button. If you're interested in how the mechanism works, I'll go into detail on it towards the end of the video. First, I'd like to go into the history of this particular machine. I picked up this machine in Phoenix City, Alabama. The only thing on it that was broken was this little rod, which I replaced. The first thing you'll notice is that there's no proper prize chute, just a tray for the prize to fall into. It also doesn't have a back door. I did some research and found out that this had to do with gambling laws which were in place from the early 50s to the early 70s. These things were labeled as illegal gambling devices unless the back door, prize chute, and coin slot were removed. These laws were relaxed in the 1970s, allowing operators to install coin mechanisms once more. You can kind of see this whole process taking place on this one machine. If you look at the wooden brackets for the crane mechanism, the wood is a different color from the rest of the cabinet. I'm guessing the mechanism and brackets were transplanted from another cabinet, possibly an older one that had a prize chute. Another thing is that this Tonka truck dates back to the 1970s, not the 50s or 60s. To throw a wrench in this theory, or a coin, clearly there is a coin mechanism. However, it seems like this was added after the cabinet was finished. If you look at this image, the hole cut out for it looks a bit jagged, like it was added later. As well, if you look at this machine I found on Clove, which appears to have been manufactured by the same company that manufactured mine, there is no prize chute or back door, and in the place of the coin mech is a string ran through a hook. If I look at the back of my machine, there is clearly a hole where the hook once was, as well as a number in about the same area. So, I think that the mechanism existed in a pre-gambling law cabinet. Post-gambling law, it was transplanted into a new cabinet without the chute, coin mech, or back door. Then, in the 70s, a coin mech was installed and the Tonka truck replaced whatever was there before. I could be completely wrong on this, but the records online, combined with the physical evidence on the machine, are pretty convincing. While having to move the machine to retrieve your prize is a hassle, the prize chute does help me determine the history of this specific machine, and it makes it very unique. The mechanism is the most interesting part of the machine in my opinion. It gives the player a fully automatic game, and all they have to do is turn the knob in one direction. The knob turn goes through a few gears that limit the movement, then to a worm gear. This turns a gear with a rod attached to it, transforming the linear circular motion into a repeating, reversing circular motion. This turns the crane and the claw spool, which are moved together by an adjustable friction mechanism. Once the crane reaches the end of the line, or if the skill stop button is pressed, the crane itself is held in place, while the claw spool is free to turn. The claw will drop, grab, and raise, by which time the reversing circular motion reverses. The sawtooth crane gear moves the spring-loaded skill stop switch out of the way to reverse direction and perform the same function it just did, but in reverse. And of course, all of this is contingent upon the coin lockout having connected a few gears in the first place. At the end of the crane's cycle, part of the mechanism pushes this lock back into place, disabling the machine until another coin is inserted. So that's the Erie digger. It's simple, it's recognizable, and it's gorgeous. While that infinity mirror certainly catches my eye, it's not nearly as impressive or as reliable as a purely mechanical, completely automatic digger crane.